Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi and I'm the author of Dosh, which is illustrated by Adam Hayes, and it's all about money and how to earn it, save it, spend it, grow it and give it away. Today I'm going to be talking about how to be a savvy spender and a sneaky saver. First of all, why does this matter? Well, because money is limited, so unless you have access to a genie in a lamp, you are going to have to figure out what to do with that limited amount of money. You will have to decide things like what to spend it on and how much to save. Now maybe you get pocket money or an allowance and you're already making those kinds of decisions. Or maybe not. I didn't have an allowance growing up. So if that's your situation, then just hold on, be patient, because one day you will be dealing with money, that's for sure. So just keep all of these tips in your pocket for now, okay? So being clever with money really comes down to two things. One, choices, and two, prioritizing. And that last one just means listing things in order of importance, but we'll come back to that. First, let's talk about choices. Suppose you've got €2 and you go to an ice cream parlor and it's €2 for one scoop of ice cream. So what happens next? If you choose the chocolate, you can't have the vanilla or the strawberry. If you choose the vanilla, you can't have the strawberry or the chocolate. It's about choices. Whenever you spend money on one thing, it means you can't spend money on something else. So how do you decide? The ice cream is just really a fun and simple example. It doesn't matter so much if you get a choice like that wrong and you wish that you'd chosen something else. We've all been there, right? Chose the chocolate, wish you didn't. But one day you will be making bigger decisions than that. And when you do, you will have to think very carefully about what you want. You have to think about what matters most to you and what doesn't matter so much. This is called prioritizing. Bumping the very important things to the top of the list and letting the not so important things move down to the bottom of the list. And one really good place to start doing this is by understanding the difference between needs and wants. So wants are the things that you'd quite like to have, but they can wait, like a video game or a pair of shoes that you've got your eye on. Needs, on the other hand, are things that can't wait. These are things like having food to eat, clothes to wear, and a place to live. Now today, someone else will be taking care of all of that stuff for you, which is great, but one day that will be your job. So it's a good idea to recognize the difference between needs and wants so you know what to prioritize when you get there. You spend on the important stuff first, and if you have something left over, you can spend on the less important things. Once you've sorted that out, you can draw up something called a budget. Now that's just a fancy word for a grand plan for your money. It's a very simple idea. You just write down all the money you have coming in. That might be pocket money if you get any, or things like birthday money. Later on, it's going to be the money that you earn. So that's money in. And then you write down all the things that you're going to spend it on. That's money out. And when you do this, by the way, you can also note down a little amount to keep aside as your savings. And we'll come back to that. But even if it's not very much, just get into the habit of keeping something aside because it all adds up in the end. So when you write all of this out, you've got yourself a budget, a plan. The next thing to do is to write down what you actually end up spending, because you might spend a little bit more than you thought you would. Happens to lots of us. The main thing to make sure of is that your money in is the same as or more than your money out. You don't want to be spending money that you just don't have if you can avoid it. Now, when you do come to spend your money, you have to be careful because advertisers and marketing people are very clever and their whole job is to make you believe that you really, really want to buy their stuff. They can even make you think that you need to buy their stuff. For example, watch out for the special offer that is not really very special. You might recognize some of these. Things like buy one, get one free, half price, 3 for the price of 2, or my favorite ever, the closing down sale, everything must go. It makes you feel like you need to buy something quickly or you'll miss out. But we all know a shop that's always closing down. The reason that these tricks work so well is that the human brain is built to take shortcuts. It helps us make decisions quickly and easily. Now that's really useful when we were hunter-gatherers way back, trying to avoid dangers like saber-toothed tigers. It's not so useful when you're shopping. Your brain sees special offer and assumes it's a great deal. It also makes you focus on the wrong thing. Like if a pair of shoes is half price, you might think, wow, that's a huge discount. It's a really good deal. But what you should be asking is, do I really need these shoes? And are they worth that much to me? The key thing is, whatever happens, stop and think. Okay, so we've talked about spending. Let's talk a little bit about saving. Question: where do you put your money? A, cookie jar. B, under a mattress or in the freezer or something like that. People actually do this, amazingly. C, money box. D, in the bank. What do you think? The answer is, of course, D, in the bank. Banks can keep your money safe. Safe from you because you can't spend it so easily, and safe from burglars too, and other accidents. So there was this story in the news recently about a lady in Israel who apparently hid $1 million in her mattress. One day her daughter turned up, knew nothing about this, decided to do a spring clean and chucked the mattress away. That's how the story goes anyway, but don't do that. Keep your money in a bank account. The other advantage to keeping your money in a bank account is that banks pay interest. They pay you money, tiny bit, but still, to keep your money with them. And they do this because they can then lend that money out to people who need to borrow it. And they charge those people interest for borrowing. That's how they make money. But yes, they pay you a little bit of interest for keeping your money with them, and that is how you make money. And this money can actually snowball over time because of something called the power of compound interest. Now there's some very complicated maths behind it, but you don't need to know the maths. You just need to know that if you save some money, those savings can grow over time. It's a bit like pushing a snowball down a snowy hill. The snowball is like your savings. As the savings roll down the hill, they pick up more and more snow. That's the interest, until you end up with a really big snowball. But just so you know, time is the biggest factor here, and the interest rate. Time gives compound interest a power up, so it's best to start saving as soon as you can. The other thing to know is that compound interest is a superhero with a dark side. Your savings can snowball, but so can the money that you borrow. That's money that you have to pay interest on and you have to pay back. So one day you may well have to borrow money. Lots of people do this to buy a house, for example, or other things they can't afford. And if you have to, make sure you keep paying your interest. Otherwise, a small amount of money that you've borrowed can snowball into something quite big. So that is something to watch out for. And one thing that you can always do to help future you out is to keep aside an emergency fund. This is like an uh-oh fund. This isn't money you save because you want to buy something in the future. It's money that you keep aside just in case future you really needs it. And again, you start early, even if you're just putting aside a few pennies. It's just such an amazing habit to get into. And it's something grown-ups can find difficult. So that's your savings. But you can maybe also have a conversation with the grown-ups at home about how you can help save money as a team. Now, there might be some things that you can cut down on as a household. So you could do things like keeping a record of things you spend on, because if you can see it, you can trim it. You can research things like energy and gas providers to get the best deal. And you can switch to energy-saving light bulbs and make sure that you're turning lights off when you leave a room. I'm sure you do this already. You can switch to supermarket versions of foods and drinks that you like. They're often cheaper than the branded versions, and you might just find that they taste better too. You can also come up with free or cheap ideas for things to do, like cooking at home instead of going out. It was tricky in the pandemic anyway. But if you learn to cook 7 things amazingly well, like restaurant style, you could save yourself so much money in the long run. Or you could do something like a home movie night instead of a trip to the cinema. I guarantee the popcorn will be cheaper at home. I bet you can think of lots more things that you could do to be a sneaky saver, and I'd love to hear your ideas as well. And when you do, all of that extra money, of course, goes into the bank where it can grow over time. What do you think? Well, I think that is all that we have time for today. There is lots more in this book too. And I hope you've enjoyed the session and you enjoy being savvy spenders and sneaky savers. Good luck!